In this video, I'm going to show you how to set a Conibear trap, or also called a body grip trap. There's a couple ways to set them. You can just manhandle them and set them with your hands, or you can use some setters. And I'll demonstrate how to set them with a couple of different styles of setters. One thing that I'll caution you on, especially when you get into the larger Conibear traps, 110s, 120s, they're kind of small, but even 160s that have two springs on each side, a spring on each side, they get to be pretty stout. So you really need to be careful when you get, I would say, probably 220s and up, definitely 280s and 330s. Use some kind of safety catch or safety gripper. They go on the jaws and hold the jaws in place while you're setting the trap. You've also got the safety catches here that are there, but when you set the trap, you have to take the safety catches off for that trap to be ready to go. So when you set them, use a safety catch of some kind, and then leave it on, take the safety hooks off, and then you can take your safety gripper off. So when you're setting a Conibear trap, the first thing you have to do is depress the springs. And they got these, like I was referring to before, they got these safety hooks or safety catches on each spring, so that when you set this one spring, you can set the safety catch and hold that spring in place while you set the other. So one way to do it is just to manhandle it. So if you got it on the ground, put your foot in place where it'll hold the trap upright. Make sure your safety hook is somewhere where it's easy to get to, easy to flip when you're ready, and just press down on the spring eye. And then when you get it down there, put your safety hook in place, and that's one. You may have some trouble getting it past the hinge here where the jaws are connected, but that's all there is to it. When you're manhandling it, you're just doing it all by hand. So just place it on there and press it down. Put your catches in place. When it's not set, you have the dog and the trigger on opposite ends. But when you set it, you squeeze those together. You squeeze those jaws together, and then you've got, alright, this is an important point. When you're dealing with some of the Conibear traps, Belials, some of the traps have a stiffer safety catch or hook than others. You'll notice these are just the floppy hooks, and both of those are off. So that's something you want to pay attention to. If that trap fires, or if you let it go for any reason, it's going to snap, and it might catch my hand, might catch my foot. So while I'm thinking about that, I'm going to put that hook back on there, and I'm going to slide it out some to where there's kind of a little bit of tension holding it on now. I'm going to do the same on this side. Put it on there and slide it out. Keep an eye on that, but that should keep those in place and keep me from getting caught, hopefully. So now all there is, you got your notch in your trigger and a couple of notches in your dog, and you just place the trigger in the dog, or the dog on the trigger, and that's all there is to it. This is where you want to be careful. If you got a safety gripper, go ahead and use it, because now you're free to set your trap ever how you want to. You don't want to forget to take these safety hooks off. But and if you want to, some people, depending on what you're targeting, you may want to adjust the trigger, the wires on the trigger. Do that before you get to this point. If you've got to adjust it now, grab it, hold it firmly with your hand, and then you can adjust it. That way, if it fires, your hand's going to catch it. You want to be real careful, especially these bigger Conibears, because if they get you, you're in a little world of hurt. So that's how you set a Conibear trap. I'm going to demonstrate another one. With a couple of tools here to make setting a little bit easier, and I'll also demonstrate on a Belial Conibear so you can see the difference. So here I got one of my Belials. This is my Conibear of choice. And first I'll demonstrate using one of these trap setters, just a long handle trap setter. There are several different kinds of these, from this just real plain Jane one There are some that got, you know, nicer handles, and that actually when you squeeze them together, they'll clip and hold the spring in place, so that you don't have to continue holding them. But with this, it's all manual. You got to hold it while you're putting your safety catch on. So all this does, you can either hook it. It's got a couple of notches. If you'll see, it's got a couple of notches in the end, and those go. I prefer, and I find it easier if you hook them on the spring eyes. If you hook them on the spring eyes, and then they're not going to slide around, and then you just squeeze. Then you just squeeze them together. It may take one hand to hold it in place, and then you can see the safety hook here on this Belial. I'm going to put it in place, and it's ready to go. Those are pretty handy. Like I said, there are nicer ones that are made. They're a little more convenient, but these will get the job done. You can see I got a little orange paint on them to try to make them stand out. And then this is a setter that I just purchased not too long ago, and I was just going to give it a whirl. One thing I like about it is it's a lot smaller, you know. This little chain and all wrap up and go right in your pocket. It's a lot smaller and less to keep up with than the big tongs, but the same deal. As you can see, it's got a couple of notches for your trap, so I'm going to take them, making sure that my safety kit hook is out of the way, and I'm going to take and just hook this on the bottom spring eye, put my foot on the trap, and then pull up. And then I can let off a little bit and make sure that the back side gets hooked. Now you'll see it's a little bit wider than my safety hook stands for, so I'm going to pull up on it a little bit more and slide my hook in place, and there you go. If you're using some other kind of trap like this, with this setter, it's going to make it tough because these spring eyes will go right around the corners. So as you're trying to set it, as it pulls up, that top spring eye is going to come around the corner. It's going to make it tough to set. But that's one thing I like about these Belials, the way they got that bend. That's not going to go around the corner. It's going right there and it's stopping, so it makes life easier. Another benefit to this, and something I've seen a lot of people recommended, is you know, these things are so small, you can keep them in your jacket pocket, and if you were to get caught in your trap, these are one-handed operations. You can hook it on the spring eye, on the spring, whatever, and use that to pull up if you've got one hand caught in the trap. So it's one-handed operator, so a little bit of a safety consideration. Get one of these and keep it in your jacket pockets. You won't really notice it, but you will if you need it. And like I said, there's a bunch of these different kinds of setters. There's one that looks like a caulk gun that you squeeze down. So it is nice to have when you're setting, especially if you're setting a bunch of Conibears, or if you're trying to get animals out of a Conibear. You got a big beaver caught in a Conibear. It can be cumbersome trying to get him out, just mashing on the springs when he's filling up the whole Conibear. So I'll go ahead and finish setting this, and it's the same deal. You've got your trigger and your dog. I'm gonna bring my springs up and I'm just gonna squeeze this together. Got my notch in my trigger, and I got my dog that I'm gonna flip over. Lock that baby in place, and now I'm being extra careful. I got this thumb under here on the trigger side, so I'm being extra careful pulling that out. One of the other things that I like about these Belials is, you see the way these safety hooks are, they're stiff. They stay in place. They aren't gonna fall like this other trap is. So, you know, if you forget, the bad thing is, if you forget to take them off, then they're not going to fall off. They're still going to be on when you know. So you want to make sure you remember that. But when you're in the midst of setting, you don't have to worry about those safety hooks falling off. They're going to stay on there and stay set until you remove them. So that's the basics of setting a Conibear, at least bigger style Conibears. This is a 280. This is a 330. But get you know, if you think you want to, I would encourage you to have some kind of trap setter. If nothing else, make life a little bit easier, especially when you make a catch. And keep in mind, safety when you're using these big traps. Keep you a safety gripper, and it's a pretty good idea to have something like this, or a piece of string that you can wrap around and use in a bind to use one-handed to get yourself out of a trap.